Good morning, boys and girls. I've collected your bell ringer, and it was a review of our editions, which we learned yesterday. Well, I want to thank everyone for doing a great job on your bell ringer, and it tells me exactly where everyone is when it comes to addition, and which is really good. With that being said, we're going to start our next task pretty soon, which is going to be multiplication. First, I would like to thank all of y'all for coming in here, coming into class quietly, sitting down, and progressing and just doing your work. What an awesome job you did. Everyone is going to be awarded dojo points. And I say congratulations once again. Thank you. Being leaders in the school, that's what it's all about. All right, multiplication. I'm first going to do with multiplication is I'm going to give you three words, and these are your math vocabulary words, and I'm going to define them. And it's going to be kept in the backboard, back in the classroom, so we can just read it anytime we need to. All right? So here it is multiplication. Multiplication is defined as a meaning that you have a certain number of groups of the same size. Then it is solved by repeated addition. Repeated addition, that word right here or that phrase, I need you to remember because we're going to go back to it and we're going to say it again. And it's going to make a lot of things easier for you when doing multiplication. Equal groups. Groups that have the same number of equivalent items. Equivalent seems like a big word, but it's just equal, really. But once again, we are doing math, so we have to start using the right term for each thing. Math is different than regular English words. It has its own meaning for things and its own name. Okay? So when I say equivalent, if I take six people and I take these six people and I bunch them together, and then I decide, no, you know what? I want three over here and three over here. So that's equivalent. That's two groups of three, which is equal. Okay? The product. The product is the result of two or more numbers when multiplied together. In other words, the product is the answer. You're correct. It's the answer. But this time we need to just raise our hands. Do not shout out the answer. Okay? So good. That's awesome that you affiliated the answer with the product because some people don't, they get thrown off by the word product. But like again, mathematics, multiplication, different terminology, different words, so we have to know what they mean. Okay? So with that being said, I am going to go and begin our next task, which is multiplication. So to start multiplication, I first want to show you something. This right here says 0 multiply any of these numbers is 0. So any number multiply 0 is 0. That is a golden rule for multiplication. When you are multiplying anything by 0, it will always be 0. I can guarantee you that. If you see 1,000 times 0, guess what? It's still going to be 0. The product is going to be 0. Okay? What Miss Lewis did was write some numbers down for multiplications. And since we know 0 times any number is going to be 0, I didn't add 0 to these. But for the one time tables, which is fairly simple, is anything times 1 is going to be itself. Meaning 1 times 1 would be 1. So if 1 times 1, and if I asked you right here, what's 1 times 2, what would your answer be? You are correct. The answer would be 2. So we can go on and say 1 times 3, it's going to be 3. 1 times 4, it's going to be 4. 1 times 5, it's going to be 5. 1 times 6 is going to be 6. And 1 times 7 is going to be 7. Before I start the twos, I wanted to ask any of y'all, any of the students, excuse me, do anyone remember number songs? Not that song. And you have to raise your hands. Not 1, 2, buckle my shoe, which is a number song, but it's not the number song I'm looking for. So I'm gonna tell you my number song, and then I'm gonna see if you can catch on. See, my favorite number song used to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. I stopped at 50 because I will only be teaching today up to the 10 timetables, okay? So 5 times 10 we know is 50, okay? So do anybody else have a number song? Right there, you seem to have one. Okay, what's yours? Okay. So your classmate decided to sing 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. He went all the way to 100, which is 10 times 10, which is an awesome song. Good job. Anybody else have one? You? Okay. So we did the two time. 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Once again, stopping at the number 10, which is awesome. So now we know the number song, and the number song really affiliates with multiplication. Everything we just sung has to do with multiplication. Correct me. So when me singing about 5, it's really the 5 timetables. You singing about the tens is the 10 timetables, and you singing about the twos is the 2 times table or multiplication table. Okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this young lady to hand out a multiplication chart. And with this multiplication chart, we will fill in, and I'm going to teach you how to add on numbers to fill in the empty box below. Okay? Here we go. Okay, everyone has a sheet now, and we're going to just go through the multiplication chart. Now, the multiplication chart is really not that complicated at all. So Miss Lewis always sees it like this. We have our top row and we have our side row, okay? Which is on my right hand side, and it's just the top up here. But right here I have the multiplication sign, so not to get anyone confused, okay? So if I did 0 times 1, which is 0, I'm going to put my answer right there. And 0 times 2 is 0, so I'm going to put my answer there. And it continues down. So what did we learn about 0? We learned that anything times 0 is what? 0. You are correct. So you can pretty much fill this whole line in with 0 because you know it's going to be 0. Now, if we go to the one time tables, we know off back, I just taught you this, that anything times 1 is itself. So if Miss Lewis says, what's 1 time 1? We know it's going to be 1. What's 1 times 2? We can fill that in and put 2 because we know 1 times 2 is 2 because its time is itself. And 3 is filled in, so we go 1 times 4, we can fill the 4 in. And the next one, the 5 is filled in, and then we do 1 times 6, and we'll fill it in. 7, 8, and 9 is done already, so we go 1 times 10, which is 10 because 1 times any number is itself, which is 10. Okay, so now we go to 2s. 2s, this my friend, right, your classmate just did 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's not a hard number to learn, but we can also make it a little easier if you don't know the 2 song number, okay? So The first thing we have is 2 times 1. We know 2 times 1 is 2. Then we see 4, which is filled in. But the number under 4 is not filled in. So if we didn't know what was 2 times 3, 2 times 3, how would we fill it in? Well, we would add 2 to that 4, and it would give us the answer right here. And this is called repeated add-ons. Remember that word in the definition? We repeat and add on the number to get the answer, okay? So now that we added 4 plus 2, we know it's 6, so we can put the 6 right there. 2 times 4 is already done, which is 8. So what about 2 times 5? It's empty. Well, we add 8 plus 2, it gives us 10. So we know the answer is going to be 10. And we can go down the line, which we see 14 is filled in, but the one underneath isn't. So how can we solve this? Yes, we add 2 to 14 and we get 16. Now, I'm gonna ask one of y'all to do the next one without any help from Miss Lewis. So we have 1 times 3 is 3. So what are we gonna do next? You can help me right there. So that's correct. You would add 3 plus 3 and you would get 6. 6. 6 would be the number you filled in here. So that would be the correct answer. We already know that that number right here is filled in, which is 3 times 3 is 9. We know that is 9. So the next one would be, you over here, 12. You are correct. All right, so Miss Lewis is going to stop now because she wants everyone to get an opportunity to do it by themselves to see if they're getting it. And I will be walking around. You can ask questions just to see how everyone is doing, okay? All right. Now that I've walked around and I see that everyone is done with their multiplication chart, I would like everyone to put your pens down and I would like to call each table to get your Google Chrome. In your Google Chrome, you will go in you will go into Galaxy Education under multiplication, okay? So we'll start with table 1 first. Everyone get up. Please get your Google Chrome. Table 2, table 3, and table 4. All right. Great job, everyone. I'm going to have to give out more dojo points. Everyone is behaving themselves so well today. All right. So in your Google Chrome, you're under multiplications, and we do understand that Google Chrome lets you go at your speed or where you are at. You don't have to stay at the level of your classmates, but for now, we're all at the same level. I want you to open up, and I want you to start doing multiplications. But when you start multiplication, I want you to use your multiplication charts to try to find the answer. Meaning, if Galaxy Education asks you what is 8 times 3, you would go to the number 8 and you would stop at 3 and you would put that number in. And that number would be 24. This enables you to use your multiplication chart to answer your question, and it teaches you how to use it. Um, if your Galaxy Education asks you what is 7 times 7, you would go to the number 7 at the top, go all the way down and stop at the number 7 on here, and that get your answer, and that would be 49. And I'm going to help you get used to using your multiplication chart to answer the questions. So with that being said, I'm gonna let you progress, and it's not a lot, it's only 10 questions for now. So I'll walk around and see if I can assist anyone, okay? Well, I just came across an interesting question. Now, I did our multiplication to the tens. What happened if Google Chrome asks you beyond 10? Well, I would have to help you. So if they go beyond 10 and they asked you what was 10 times 12, well, I would first tell you to add 10. If you add 10 to 100, that means 11 times 10 is 110. You can add another 10 to that, and then you'll get 120. But unfortunately, that was the last one. There shouldn't no more problems like that be like that. But that was an awesome question. All right, so we are done with Google Chrome. Everyone seemed to be understanding multiplication, using your multiplication chart. I just want to give out some homework, just 10 questions, and I want you to use your multiplication charts to solve, to get the product of the question equation, okay? Thanks, y'all have been great today. Of course, you're getting more JoJo's points for today. Excellent class. Give everyone congratulations. Appreciate it. Have a nice day.